This week's episode of The Graveyard Shift is brought to you by Ian A. and Gregory M. Both of these fine, upstanding gentlemen suggested the featured movie on our Facebook page. Thank you guys for the recommendation. We were planning on covering this one around this time anyway because we may have a little bonus coming up involving this title. So, good timing. If you have a movie you'd like us to use for a future episode, we're going to tell you how you can make that happen at the end of the show. Speaking of shows, this one must go on. I'm your host Sheldon, and this is A Graveyard Shift, horror with Sheldon and Mike. Welcome to episode 14 of the Graveyard Shift Horror Podcast, where each week we watch a movie from the horror category, usually one selected by one of you crazies, and break it down into all the relevant info you need to know. Info like the plot, some production notes, what we liked, what we didn't like, plus maybe some bonus stuff. And yes, I said we, because the car always has room for one more clown. Please say hello to my co-host Mike.
Hello.
Mike, how are you doing today?
Pretty darn good. I was up early and then thought, all right, I'm gonna get some good viewing in. Took some great notes, and I'm all ready to put this movie to bed.
All right. Well, Mike, we've been waiting to do this movie for quite a while. I believe it is actually one of the movies that was on our original list before we even recorded one episode, when we just had a list of movies before we started getting any fan suggestions.
Yeah, it was one of the, I think it was slated to be the first movie, in fact.
I think so, until we changed some things around, yeah. And then we started getting some suggestions from you guys, which is awesome. Keep them coming, please, because we're getting tons, and even movies that we can't say are great movies, they're at least entertaining. So, thank you very much for that. And, it is without a doubt time to do this one. So, why don't you tell everyone what we've got in store for them today?
Today's episode is a Pennywise for your thoughts, because we watched it.
Yes. We're talking about the classic made-for-TV movie that made sure a whole generation had a healthy fear of clowns.
Before the ICP.
Yes. So, Mike, this was the first time you actually saw this movie, right?
Yeah. When it was first came out on TV, I was channel surfing, saw like a kid talking to someone in the sewer, and then I was just like, okay. And then my next memory was like blood in a sink, and I was just like, really? Did I not stick around to watch this movie? Because it's fucking great.
Yeah. Well, a little bit of information about it before we talk about it any further. Premiering on November 18th, 1990, on ABC, it was a two-part miniseries based on the 1986 Stephen King novel of the same name. It had a $12 million budget, which at the time was pretty much unheard of for a TV production. Its profit is hard to determine due to it being on TV, but it had an estimated 30 million viewers during its premiere. That is pretty fucking cool.
Yeah.
Not in any small part due to a very good marketing campaign, because I remember I actually did see this when it premiered on TV, so, 12-year-old Sheldon caught this when it first came on. And I remember for weeks leading up to it, it was like always commercials all the time. You couldn't turn on TV without seeing a commercial for it. And the commercials got me. Me and a couple of my friends watched it when it came on. It was over 2 nights. And yeah, I loved it right from the start. It also did very well in VHS and DVD sales in years after its TV release. As for the plot, in 1960, 7 preteen outcasts fight a child-killing supernatural force that takes the form of a clown. 30 years later, they reunite to stop the demon once and for all when it returns to their hometown. So, since this was your first time watching it, Mike, before without going into many details, what did you think of it?
It's kind of like the Goonies if it had its own sequel in in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
it was fantastic acting, great characters. And like Tim Curry was the star of the show.
Oh,
I mean, like,
for sure.
Just his.
Yeah.
What I loved mostly was his like mannerisms
Yeah.
as Pennywise, where he's just like, I can only describe him as Kruger-esque, where he's just taking absolute joy in his malevolence.
Mm-hmm. See, I love Tim Curry. He's in like so many roles that he's played where I've loved. In oh my god, what is the? Didn't he play like the devil in that movie with Tom Cruise? Why can't I think of the name of that? What's wrong with me today? This is something that usually would pop into the top of my head. But anyway, loved him in that role, and I think is it Legend? I think it's called. And let's not forget the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Oh,
He's such a good character actor. It's just he was definitely the highlight. And though we'll talk more in detail of it later on, I did have some problems with his performance. It was kind of mixed for me. But this movie was effective. I know, like, watching it now, it's not scary. Like, it's not overly gory. I mean, there is some blood, but I mean, it's not a gory movie because it was made for TV. As a kid, though, like, one of the things I distinctly remember about watching this when I was 11 or 12, I can't remember, but anyway, was sleeping with the light on that night. I watched it. I watched it at a friend's house, and I went home. And I don't remember, like, consciously, like, leaving the light on for purpose. All I remember is that going home, going to my room, laying on my bed, thinking about, like, the stuff that happened in the movie, and waking up the next morning still fully dressed with the light on. So I don't know if that was just, I just dozed off just because I was thinking about laying on my bed and thinking about stuff, or was, some fear involved there. But
You're like Bart Simpson. Can't sleep. Clown will eat me. Can't sleep. Clown will eat me.
Yeah, so I did watch it again. I watched this one recently, like, and when I say recently, I mean, within the past couple of years. So I still, like, remembered most of the details about it. I own it on DVD, but I did watch it again over the past couple of days, and I'm like, yeah, like, trying to watch it from a kid's perspective, it would be scary. Like, I think I would be still scared if I was, like, 12 years old now, which was about the age of the kids in the movie, the characters. So I think that had a big factor on it as well, of how, like, it affected me when I originally watched it. So, yeah. So, do we want to just tear right into this one?
Oh, sure.
Okay.
Let's tear into this like a kid who came too close to the sewer.
Oh, good segue. I like that. Okay, so you know how we do this. We always divide our movies into two categories: things we liked and things we didn't like. So
with special guest appearances every now and then by what the fuck.
Sometimes, yeah, there's quite a few movies we've watched. Like, if you listen to our last episode when we covered the movie Pieces, we actually added a new category because that one definitely deserved it. So, yeah, we do sometimes. From now on, if a movie is deserving of it, we will add some things to the what the fuck category. And I can't think of anything for that category right now, but I may the more we talk about it. So let's get moving. I'm going to start off right away, because we already mentioned it. Tim Curry playing Pennywise the dancing clown. Did we see him dance in the movie?
When he's in the photograph, he does some tumbling, but we don't.
Yeah.
It might not be Tim Curry.
So Tim Curry in this role, when he is playing, like, actually playing for scares, he does a phenomenal job. The voice, the actions, the facial expressions, yeah, that would terrify me as a little kid.
Ugh.
Just to look, like, I don't understand clowns anyway. I don't know what the appeal of clowns is. Like, why did clowns ever become a thing? I don't get that.
I think people wanted to like dress up as demons, but they realized that shit's way too fucking scary. So they thought like, how can we still dress up like really frightening and odd and disturbing, but yet not play up any Satan angle? So they just like took away any demon appearances and they were left with that.
I went to a friend of mine had a birthday party for his kid once, and I was there. And they actually had a clown hired to come and perform, like, juggle and do some tricks and everything. And all I'm thinking is I'm sitting back, like I'm eating a piece of cake and watching, this clown interact with the kids. And all I could think of is, like, what is wrong with you? What kind of life choices did you make that this is the career you decided to go into?
I want a career. Look, all I want out of a career is two things: to wear grossly oversized shoes and to work with balloons.
I wanted to be able to interact with kids and have my face unrecognizable.
Yeah, just in case things happen around the kids, no one can be able to positively identify me.
Yeah, like, I mean, I'm not like, I know people that have a fear of clowns, like, a legitimate fear that, like, I literally know people that can't even look at a picture of a clown. Like, I do it as a prank sometimes. There's a friend of mine, every year for a birthday, I get a picture of Pennywise holding balloons and put happy birthday on it and post that on her Facebook page on her birthday every year. And every year, like, the same comment would be, I fucking hate you. I open up my Facebook, I open my phone, and that's the first thing I see.
Come on, everybody loves a clown, so why don't you?
Yeah, so I'm not like that. I just don't like them. Like, there's just a creepy factor about it that doesn't make me scared of them. It makes me want to punch them.
Yeah, it's like, who thought I want to wear like absolutely white makeup from head to toe, a big red goofy nose, and just like dance around and do tumbles and shit? Well, I can understand like doing tumbles and shit. I mean, like the physicality of it can be fun, like messing around with balloons and like entertaining kids, but I mean, like, there's got to be like other ways to like entertain kids without putting on like such a disturbing amount of white makeup.
Yeah. And okay, so I'm gone totally off topic now. I'm on the whole, like, analyzing the idea of being a clown. But
save it for the Patreon. We'll talk about clown mythologies for our Patreon.
But Tim Curry in this, the creep factor was high. Like, even when he's not really doing anything scary, when he's just looking at the camera and talking, and
yeah, he's at his scariest when he's not being scary. Like when he's just like sticking up out of the ground and like putting his fist to his head and he's giving out a big old smile, and we're just like, oh my fuck, he's not even trying to be like disturbing or like sharp teeth or anything.
Yeah. And not when he's joking around or anything, but when he's just like talking, like his voice, the mannerism, and like you said, like that, like leaning, like, popping out of a grave and leaning on his hand while he's talking to some of them, and it's like, hey, pick anyone you want, except, well, that one on the end, it's taken. And this is pretty cool. His hair, Pennywise's hair, is actually Tim Curry's real hair.
Oh my god, it's not a wig.
He dyed it red for filming, and they just put a bald wig on him and put some slits and like pulled his real hair through the bald wig. God,
that man is so friggin' awesome.
Yeah, and
that just makes him so much cooler.
And yeah, so this is that's a pretty obvious one. Like, I mean, for something you like about the movie, but since we already touched on it, I said might as well knock that one out of the way. So, what about you? Give me something that you liked about this.
Well, I think I'm gonna play predictable and just say the credits on this.
I was gonna say there's no boobs in this movie. I watched it a couple of times. So.
Yeah,
with you, it's either boobs or credits. So
yeah, it's the safe for TV. It's a safe for TV likes. So like, it has awesome credits. It's short, sweet, blood-dripping letters with a great musical sting that lasts just the right amount of time, and like decent font for the rest of the actors as well. Like right off the bat, like it is setting up atmosphere perfectly. Like it's fulfilling, it's promising a lot and delivering what it promises right off the bat.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's your next like?
Well, this is going to be one that's a little more personal, but like it's the kids in the movie. Like I like the actors did a great job. The child actors, their characters were good and believable. And when I saw this the first time, being like that age myself, I really felt like I connected with the whole, them being outcasts type of thing, because of me and like my small circle of friends, like we were the typical like outcast kid. We grew up in a small, we lived in a small redneck town where everybody is like, like just a carbon copy, cookie cutter, copy of everyone else.
Yeah, you fall in line or you fall behind.
And then we had our small circle of friends, like a small bunch of us that were obsessed with horror movies. We loved heavy metal music, which, was really going against the typical country fan that we grew up with. So I really felt that kinship with these kids at the time, like of being like different, but not fitting in with the main crowd. But it didn't matter because you had this small circle of friends that you discovered each other, and you were friends ever since. So really like that their little Scooby Gang, Goonies, like you said, the reference you made earlier. And so like the bottom line, when you strip it down, like it is about this group of kids like just coming together, finding each other, and uniting,
and finding themselves.
Exactly. I mean to get all like after school special on everybody there, but that was something I always like from the first time I saw it. That was something that I really enjoyed about it. So yeah. So how about you? Anything else?
Another thing I liked, well, we already talked about like the taunting presence of the clown, like just like showing up even when he's not like attacking anybody, just like showing up and just being a menacing motherfucker. And but one thing that really got me was seeing Bev, like a grown-up Bev, just taking her life back, like realizing. Like, it took her too long, in her life. But in the movie, we didn't have to see her suffer too long. It became obvious that she was, like, basically dating her dad.
Yeah.
And she just took her life back, and I was just like, you go, girl. Girl power.
Yeah, like, that was... to think about somebody in that situation, like you survive, like as a kid, being having an abusive father, which is bad enough, but then having to face off with this demonic clown, and you survive that, only to go into, as an adult, go into an abusive relationship, and like so. Yeah, that sucked, but yeah, you're right. She turned that around pretty quickly. Well, like she kind of, with that phone call, she kind of snapped out of it, and her throwing stuff at her boyfriend, just grabbing whatever's in front of her and just launching it at him, was awesome. I love that.
Beaning him with the hand cream.
Yep.
Yeah,
like, that was great.
Wait a second, I'm the man. You're supposed to be scared of me. This whole shift in the paradigm is confusing me.
I'm really just a scared, insecure little boy. So yeah, that was really good. Like that's a good one.
Okay, so what's next for you?
This is gonna sound so strange because I like the bullies in this. These bullies were hardcore, man. Henry Bowers and his gang. These weren't the typical bullies. I mean, like, I'm not making light of the subject or anything, but I mean, bullies now. I mean, a bully is some, like, keyboard warrior that, is going to say bad stuff about you online, and I know it's not limited to that, but that's usually what we think about when we think about bullies these days. These guys, no, they were legit. They were going to fuck you up. They carried switchblades. They were like ready to kill them at
Yeah.
one point. They were hunting them through the sewers while holding knives.
I have to say it's kind of a good thing to show how we've developed, that like our bullies are nowadays like so lazy and scared they have to resort to making you want to kill yourself. But back in those days, fuck that, they'd cut out the middleman. They want the joy of killing you themselves.
Yeah, I know. And like I said, this is so stupid, guys. Like, please don't hate me for saying things like this, but sometimes I see people now, like especially with having a son of my own, and you interact with people that are considered bullies, and it's because of this, because of the whole like more of the keyboard warrior type of bully and everything. And I look at some kid and I'm like, really? You're a bully? It's like, I was a scrawny ass kid and I would have kicked your ass if you tried to bully me when I was your age.
Yeah, like, oh, you're calling someone like a derogatory name on their Facebook page. Like, really? That's all you got?
Yeah.
I mean, far be it from me to tell bullies to step up their game. Like, it's good in a way to see, like, it's like a defanged tiger. I mean, like, yeah, they can still kind of swat at you with their big padded paws, but the claws are gone.
Yeah. And with me growing up, it was more not quite so murderous as them, but I had to deal more with the bullies that were going to, when you got a chance, if you out in public sometime, that were going to sucker punch you, give you like a gut shot when you least expect it, or try to pant you when you're talking to a girl or something like that.
The psychological long game.
Yeah.
I mean, like, they just made your whole... Yeah, I mean, like that's enough to really make you want to, like, do yourself in. Because, like, they make themselves like an everyday physical threat.
Yeah. Yeah, so, good job on the bullies. Like, the bullies were legitimately scary. I mean, it was... And what really, like, sucked for these kids is because they're... they discover everything that's happening with Pennywise, and they've got to deal with this, murderous supernatural force, but yet they've got to deal with real life bullies as well.
Yeah, they
can't get a break in either side.
They got to deal with somebody they can't kill, at least not without massive consequences.
Yeah.
That was, yeah, like, they were a great secondary threat.
Mm-hmm.
But, I also loved, like, some of the cute things. Like, when Ben leaves the poem for Bev in the mailbox. And, I mean, like, he's a big kid. And he's hiding behind the thinnest grass right across the street in a red jacket. Like, he didn't even wear, like, a green hoodie or anything. Just, like, for a guy that likes to read a lot, he sure didn't get why the British lost so many men in the American Revolution.
Yeah, I remember I was at work today while you were watching this, and remember one of your messages. You sent me a screenshot, and I'm trying to find it now. Holy crap, because you sent me like 1,700 screenshots.
That used to be a Patreon exclusive, or at least like when we get a website, we need to like have like a read along with Mike, just to see my live tweet, my live viewings.
Yeah, so I have it here because you got a screenshot of him like just basically a bright red jacket, and he's hiding behind like pretty much a blade of grass, or some little twig or weed or something, and it's like, nice camo, genius.
Yeah, my literal words were great camo, stud.
Yeah, that's it. So that was it did have some cutesy pie moments like this, and oh my god, so that bugged the hell out of me too. The family that he had to live with, they had to go live with his aunt and cousin. And when his cousin starts making fun of him for like writing poetry, and he just like slams his cousin to the floor and takes his poetry book back.
Yeah.
And it was hilarious. And that little shit's reaction to it.
We're only taking you in because it's our Christian duty.
Oh my god! I was hoping first time I saw that I was like, I actually think the words that came out of my mouth was kick him in the nuts.
And that's my Christian duty.
Yeah. But yeah, that was he was good. I liked the chubby kid. That was he was a cool character.
Oh yeah, and another thing that they kind of played against type was the cop who finds the kids just hanging out near their makeshift dam. Like, instead of being like a real piece of shit, he talks to them and he explains like, yeah, well, you can't do that because you're going to be like causing floods and all that. And by the way, there's these murders going on, so definitely stick together. Don't leave anyone behind. And I was just like, wait a second, a cop that's actually protecting and serving, and he's not a raging asshole.
Helpful cop in a helpful cop in a horror movie. Who would have thunk it?
And a small town.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was just like such a breath of fresh air.
Yeah, that was good. It was definitely a change from every cop in every other movie we've seen. Because either the cops are either not helpful at all and actually do more harm than good, or they're complete bumbling idiots.
A competent, if not effective, cop.
So, anything else on your likes list for this one?
Oh yeah, I like that. I called. What did I call the head bully, Henry? Evil Alfalfa.
Yeah.
Because basically, yeah, if the Little Rascals was in like if the Little Rascals was from the Negaverse, where they're completely inverted, basically this bully would be Dark Alfalfa. Because he's like too young to grow a goatee.
Yeah.
And I love that Seth Green's character, Richie, he doesn't take shit from him for a minute. When he sees him in the theater, he pours his drink on him. Then when he faces him in the school, immediately slams his food tray right in the guy's face. Like, any chance this guy tries to threaten him, he immediately flips the script and be like, fuck me? No, sir. Fuck you.
Yeah, he kind of took the attitude like, if you're going to try to bully me anyway, and you're probably going to cause me physical harm, I might as well just give you a reason for it.
Yeah, if an ass whooping is coming my way, you bet your fucking ass I'm gonna earn it.
Yeah, exactly. I still find it so hard to believe like that's Seth Green. I just find that so cool.
And like, even one of his confrontations made like a separate like on my list, where he's just like, I'll kill you all, and Seth Green's just like, get some new material.
Yeah.
Like, just blasting him with a stand-up joke.
Yep.
It was just absolutely perfect. So what about you? Any other likes?
Well, I was going to ask you this question actually earlier. What did you like better about the movie? Did you like it? Did you like the flashback portions of the movie, like as showing the kids, or did you like it better when they were adults?
I was liking it as the kids flashback more, because that's where we got to see them develop. Mm-hmm. But when they finally do meet in the restaurant and they start talking, and when Mike is hanging out with Billy, even as grown-ups, I was just like, I can't decide between them. Like, they're both...
Yeah.
It's just so well balanced to see how they, like, saved each other as kids and how they're really saving each other again as adults.
Yeah. For me, because the reason I brought this up is because, like I said, already mentioned earlier that I was about, when this came out, I was about the age of these kids when I first saw it. And so, of course, I'm going to identify more with these kids at the time. But now, of course, I'm going to identify more with the adults. These guys, like these people, like, pushing 40, or they might be older than 40, actually, there. So, but Yeah, like I still think I thought this like I identify more with the adults now, of course, but I still think I like the all the flashbacks because that I think that part was more scary. It had a better effect
Yeah,
because when you're dealing, like as an adult, you can kind of deal with things a little better, like things that when you're a kid, sometimes things that really aren't that scary have a more of an effect on you than they do as an adult. So I still think I like all the flashback scenes better.
okay, well, I'm going to ask you a question. Was this movie better as is, or would it have been better if all the flashbacks were done in one sequence, and then it would say 30 years later and begin with Mike discovering that the killings have returned, and so is
Yeah,
Pennywise?
a lot of people are probably going to disagree with me, but I honestly think that that would have been a better way of doing it. I'm not a huge fan of doing that, like having like a story with like a lot of flashbacks.
Yeah, to me, it
Um,
breaks the pacing.
yeah, exactly. And like sometimes you've got a pretty good scene, you've got a good momentum building up, and all of a sudden you get a flashback that just brings it to a grinding halt.
Yeah, like each kid should have got like at best, like as an adult, one like a second flashback, just in case there's like one event that like we didn't have to show in the main backstory,
Yeah,
but like just like a quick, oh, and then this happened, to like show like where they kind of like made like a left turn, like either a defining moment or where their salvation came short, and why they still turned out the way they did instead of being better. Like, to me, it should have been like one half story of them confronting this thing as kids, and then like it ends like in the middle on a cliffhanger where it's just like, oh shit, he's back.
yeah, yeah. That would have been. I think that would have worked. Yeah, and it was done pretty well for like a lot of movies that use flashbacks like this. They did do a decent job, but yeah, I could have easily have been I would have been completely satisfied with part one being them as kids, and part two being them as adults. And I think it would have been actually probably would have been more effective.
There's probably some fan edit out there where somebody did do this movie in chronological order. We're probably gonna have
Yeah.
to look for it.
Mm-hmm.
But are there any other likes on your half?
Yeah, and I'm just gonna say a very general one. Just the story overall, I fucking love this story. This freaking demon that takes the form of a clown, first of all, is just a horrifying thought. And the fact that it feeds on children. Well, I guess it feeds on. It can feed on anyone. Like it doesn't. It's not that picky like that. It will. It has killed adults as well, but it particularly likes children. And I think he mentions that actually that
Yeah, because their fear is more succulent. Like,
yeah, it
kid
seasons
because
the meat. It seasons the meat better.
yeah, I guess because like kids can be more afraid of anything because they can imagine unbelievable things. When grown-ups, their fears are more like either please don't kill me or oh shit, I'm gonna get fired next month. Like how am I gonna pay my bills? That's their fear. They're boring fears. Kid fears are gonna be like I'm gonna be killed by this giant sewer-dwelling super spider thing. Like
Yeah,
I mean, kid fears are fucking amazing. Like this bully's gonna get me. My test is gonna fail. I'm gonna fail my test, and then my dad's gonna beat me. Like they have like a whole different range of fears.
yeah, and then
It's
like
like they got 11 herbs and spices, but grown-ups, we just got ketchup and that's it.
yeah, and then it's like they got kids having to deal with death as well. Like the main character dealing with the death of his brother that he feels at least partially responsible for. Um, and then the other kid who's dealing with the death of his father, and was one of the first one of the first times he sees Pennywise is taking the form of his father, telling him, "Hey, that's where I live now." And, that's the first time I think we hear we all float down here.
Well, that's the second time we hear him because the first time is when he does Georgie in.
Yeah, that's right.
But like, yeah, well, I'll get to that that
And
whole
just that,
thing.
yeah. So like, just the overall story, like it was just such a well done story. It's
It really was.
and if you liked, and I know we've talked about, you said before that you don't read, but I highly recommend it. If you like this movie, get the book because everything you liked about this movie times it by 10.
I wonder if there's an audiobook version of it and who would
Check
read
it out.
it.
I'm sure there is. And it explains a lot too. You're actually not getting as like a lot of explanation about what Pennywise is in the movie. But we had to talk about this earlier, actually, before we started recording. But yeah, so that's it for me. Like, I think that pretty much covers like the main things. There's lots of little things, like certain scenes, like the first time we see Pennywise, just head popping out of the sewer, like that in the storm drain. Like, damn, like right off the bat, it's just this fucking bulbous clown head just pops up. Hi, Georgie.
You dropped this?
Yeah. Like, Jesus Christ, like for a movie that doesn't really have like a lot of big scares or a lot of gore, it's fucking scary.
Oh yeah, like I doubt I could show this to my 10-year-old nephew.
No, that's like my son. My son is 9, and I'm like, no, not yet. Not yet. Let you get. I'll at least let you wait until you're as old as I was when I watched it. Give you a couple more years at least.
Yeah, even then, like, I don't know, something about like being 80s kids. We were just made. Oh God, I'm sounding like an old man. We were just made of sterner stuff. I mean, you look at the horror movies like we watched, like even when we weren't supposed to, like Child's Play, Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th. I mean, like those movies were supposed to be made for teenagers, but if it came out on video, like at friggin' Blockbuster, we could go and like just grab a cassette that had like the creepiest looking cover on it.
Trust me, nobody was asking, like, nobody was checking the ratings on the movie covers when I used to go to the video store when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I'd walk into our local video store at, which was, one of the old convenience / video stores. And I'd walk out there with whatever movie I wanted to. There was no restrictions.
Oh, yeah. Okay, well, to burn through the rest of my likes, when they were doing that fear-facing confrontation in the sewer, or instead of beginning with a physical attack, he's trying to separate them and divide them with their own fears. I mean, like these kids had no idea what they were dealing with, coming in like vastly underarmed, and instead of attacking them where he could have like physically killed them all. But no, he goes for the psychological confrontation, trying to pick them off one by one. And it was just so amazing. It was almost like a Care Bears moment, like, we have to believe each other and the power of friendship is going to get us through. And it's like if Care Bears had to fight a cannibalistic super clown.
Mm-hmm.
And then another thing I really liked was... again, seeing Mike and Billy hanging out as grown-ups, fixing the bike, and then just taking it out through the schoolyard.
The little montage you get of them with the... what was the name of the bike? What was it called? The Silver...
Silver. And it was a Schwinn.
Yeah, okay. So it was
Silver
just called
Schwinn.
Yeah.
And I was just like, that can't support adult weight. But apparently, like, no, these bikes were made in the 50s.
Oh, they were made to last, man. The stuff in the 50s was made so that it would be the last of everything you ever had to buy.
Oh, man. Like, that is, like, seeing, like, 2 adults riding on this thing, and they're not busting the tires. It's still driving. I was just thinking, man, like, wow, that's a sturdy mother effing bike.
That was a fun scene. I like that.
And then another time Bev impressed me was when she was trying to visit her dad's house. I guess so that like she could throw hand cream at him too. Like she's finally got her courage.
Yeah, she figured that she can put, like, she can talk to her dad and kind of put the past behind them and move forward.
Yeah, but
Either that
then,
or she was going there, she's like got a knife in her purse and she's just going to stab the shit out of him.
or just throw him on the floor and like punch him, and then she was just like, "How does it feel? How does it feel? How do you like it? Now who's the weepy little bitch?" But anyway, like apparently she either doesn't go in the house or like she went into the house. It was a whole psychological thing by Pennywise because that's his thing. But then when she gets out, looks at the house and realizes, oh shit, it's been boarded up. What the hell was I doing? And then a truck comes to like nearly run her over. And instead of like, she actually dodges the truck. Instead of standing and screaming at it, she actually does what every woman in the movie should do and just be like, oh shit, and just like sidestep the truck. She actually took action and dodged it rather than screaming at it and hoping it will go away.
Yeah. But that was a good scene too. Like I like that whole scene because not only like, showing up to confront her father and then hearing from this old lady that, oh, he died, right? That's what she told him.
Yeah.
But then being invited in and finding like this whole situation is weird, then the old lady turns into her fucking dad corpse. And she runs out of the building and looks back at it, and she's like, "This place is all is dilapidated, it's boarded up, it's condemned. There was no way she was actually inside there. So this is all a fucking illusion that Pennywise has created. This didn't actually happen. The whole thing just happened in her mind."
Yeah, like I can just imagine somebody walking by is just seeing Bev standing at the door in a trance.
Yeah.
For like 3 minutes, wondering,
it just goes
am
to show
I looking at somebody having a stroke?
Yeah, it shows Pennywise's power because, like, yeah, he can just create this, not just like take the form of something or like whisper in your ear and put suggestions in. He created a whole fucking scenario out of nothing. Like that's.
It would be really nice to see like what was Bev actually doing.
Oh yeah,
like
that
did she
good.
like somehow like break open the boards and walk in, or was she just like standing at the door drooling in this fugue state while imagining she's inside?
Yeah.
And then my final like is just simply, yes, die Henry, die. When Henry doing Pennywise's bidding, because why do you owe him any favors? Instead of trying to make any peace or develop or grow, he just comes in, shivs Mike, calls him the N-word because, racist people are dumb, stupid assholes. He stabs him, then everyone pries him off, and then Mike gets one good stab in. He's just like, oh, sir, allow me to return this to you.
Yeah.
Like, Mike got his revenge.
Mm-hmm.
And we see Henry die, and I'm just like, finally. But, oh yeah. I mean, like, when you see Henry, he's so scared by Pennywise, he actually has his hair turn white.
Yep.
And what did I say when it shows like that panning scene of him with white hair?
Oh, I don't remember. What was it?
It went, Marty, something's got to be done about your sewer clown.
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, here it is. Yep. Turned into full-on Doc Brown.
Oh, yeah. It was fantastic. Yeah, so that's my final like. Are we going to move on to the dislikes?
One of the things I like, though, about before we get into the dislikes is that they mentioned in the movie a few times about they're not sure how they all came together, like to become friends and take on Pennywise, that there was some kind of force that guided them, that pulled them all together. And even after they defeated Pennywise, that force, whatever it was, seemed to just disappear. Because didn't one of them even mention, like, say that, like, they had to, sometimes they even forget each other's names now since they finally killed Pennywise?
Yeah, like, it's like Pennywise is the force.
Yeah.
Somehow, it's like there's this other half of Pennywise that's like, well, like the evil half of him is in control. This like somehow this like secondary good half is working against him, conspiring. Like there are ample times when he's like warning these kids, like I that's well, if I can give like a spoiler to one of my like what the fucks is instead of just like ambushing these kids, he's like revealing himself and taunting them, giving them a reason to be aware of him and prepared, rather than simply like, "Hey kid, you want to see a trick?" Whack! And then like eat them up.
Well,
Like,
he likes that. He likes that fear, right? He likes to create that fear first.
well, you did, but he didn't do that with Georgie, and he didn't do it with the little girl while her mom
No,
was
that's
doing
true.
the laundry.
You're right. No, that's true.
And all these kids in the same town at the same time, like you think he'd like tantalize one just to be like, oh, this is going to be like my main course, but the rest are just going to be like stuffing and seasoning and shit.
Read the book, man. The book explains a lot. It explains what Pennywise is. It even explains what this mysterious force is. Let's just say there might be a mirror image, not mirror image, but like an Pennywise opposite out there somewhere in the cosmos.
You mean Dollar Dumb?
Yeah. Exactly. So, yeah, I know I sent you like a little Wikipedia about it, but yeah, read the book. It clears up a lot of things. And really makes the movie, a lot of things about the movie make a lot more sense. So check it out. But yeah, okay, so ready to move on to our dislikes.
Yep. And this is a much shorter pile for me,
It's shorter, but
which lets you know how the movie went for me.
Yeah, it's shorter for sure, but it definitely had some things that could have been done better. So, do you want me to start off?
Absolutely.
Okay, so my very first like is I mentioned about Tim Curry playing Pennywise. Like when he's being scary, he's fucking scary. Sometimes when he's not actually doing anything that's really scary, it still comes off scary. But there were times when I'm like, what the fuck? This is not scary. What are you doing? This is enough of that. And that would be the times when he goes on a fucking running tangent of jokes. It's not scary when he's like, straddling the rail at the library and just going on and on and on with like knock jokes and
Yeah, spinning that little that thing.
yeah. Like I'm like, okay, I was like, even first time I saw this, I was like, I don't think that's scary. It makes it funny more than anything, because especially like, do you have Prince Albert in a can? Well, you better let him out. Nyah, nyah, nyah.
What kind of setup is that? What the fuck would be Albert in a can?
Prince Albert in a can. It was some kind of, I don't know, it was some kind of cooking ingredient at some point.
Sheesh.
You know what? I'm going to Google it.
Yeah, and I'll just go on bitching about, like, I mean, like, there was a scary aspect in this scene when he's taunting Richie in the library, and that's with the blood balloons.
Yeah. No, that was legit. Like, see, that was scary. But the whole thing, like, sometimes he just, the clown aspect of it, like the joke telling and everything like that, was just a little too much. And I think it took away from Pennywise's creepiness.
Yeah, it's like he ran out of material, and he's just like, okay, well, instead of any psychological torture, I guess I'll just annoy this guy now. I mean, I peaked with the blood balloons. I really don't have a follow-up, so I'm just going to grab this noisemaker, and I'm just going to be, like, riding the rails, pretending to, like, dry hump it.
Yeah.
And doing my worst Krusty the Clown.
Yeah, so I think, like, that was just one of the things, like, okay, like, Pennywise, just, scale it back a little, please. You're starting to lose your effectiveness. Oh, okay. Here it is. Prince Albert in a can was actually tobacco. You used to be able to buy cans of tobacco, Prince Albert brand.
Huh.
So I had no idea. Like, I've heard that joke before. Do you have Prince Albert in a can? Well, you better let him out. Like, but I never really understood what... I was like, I know it's some kind of product that the brand name is Prince Albert or the product name is Prince Albert, but I didn't know what it was. So there you go.
I thought Prince Albert was like a fart. You better let him
I
out.
thought it was a dick piercing.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I heard that too. Like there was like, yeah, like a dick piercing called like the Prince Albert.
So yeah, so that's like a minor thing. It's just like I think that it would have been creepier if they laid off like the the dad jokes. But yeah, so what about you? Tell me something you didn't like.
Well, basically the whole character of Tom Rogan just kept rubbing me off in a Trumpy way. Like it's all about appearance. You're my trophy bitch. We just got to appease these foreign markets, and in that same vein, it's like when they meet the Japanese man, and they just stand there smiling and bowing, and I'm just like, really, you're going with like the bowing Japanese shtick? They don't say anything. They just stand there and bow like freaking drinking birds.
Yeah.
I mean, like, is the stereotype true? I mean, like, did Stephen King try to, like, market some things to Japan, and he's just like, oh, shit, they really do the bowing thing. I gotta put that in my next movie. And what about you for other dislikes?
For a movie that had a 12... I know it was made for TV, but for a movie that had a $12 million budget, the effects could have been better. Some of them were pretty standard, cheap TV show effects.
I don't know, having that blood bomb in the sink was pretty damn disturbing.
That one was, yeah, that was pretty effective, but some of, like, when, like, some of Pennywise's illusions disappeared, like, it almost felt like you almost needed that harp and sound when it, like, it went wavy and then faded out, so it almost kind of it sounded like it should be going, like... So like, that's minor stuff, but like some of that stuff just bothers me for some reason. I'm nitpicking, I know, so sue me, I don't care. But that and some of the and I know like there's a reason behind it. I was gonna say some of like the creatures, like we saw a mummy and a werewolf, which were pretty stock characters. But it's because they were supposed to be stock characters, because Pennywise is creating something that the kids have seen in movies or something, and it's recreating this fear.
Yeah, so it has to look like a prop from like a schlocky $500 50s B movie.
Yeah.
So they played it correctly.
Yeah.
As they were going for like a kid's perspective, not like a realistic perspective.
Yes. So I guess maybe I was like, there was an opportunity for this to be a much more gory, much more visual movie, but like I do get it that they had certain restrictions being like on TV during prime time. So, but yeah, just a missed opportunity that may get fixed pretty soon.
Yep. We may see how that turns out.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a little bit.
Yeah, and there was just like Bev's dad and Eddie's mom. Like, the parents in this are just shitty people.
Oh, the parents were awful. Shittiest parents.
I mean, like, I can understand like why the kids always wanted to get the hell out of town. Like why didn't they just run away as kids? Like, that could have been like the Last Kid flashback where they're just like, okay, you know what, we're going to hit the highway, we're going to go our separate ways, like, as long as they're not in town. And then Mike's just like, yeah, well, I can't really afford bus fare, and I've got the only good parents in town, so I got to stick around with them.
Yeah. So,
I mean, like, Bev's dad being a friggin' alcoholic, Eddie's mom just being, like, this doting, like, oh my god, like, when I sent a picture of you before of like Eddie's mom as an adult when he's like trying to get home and she's like all over him. Yeah. I said the way he looked and acted was like a half breed of Andy Dick and Norman Bates.
Yep. He did.
And then we get to see later on in the flashback with the mom, and I'm just like, man, this is like, she's setting him up to be like, she's just setting him up to be like wearing her skin as a suit when she dies.
Oh, he's going to be keeping her head in a freezer and like talking to it every day.
I mean, like that's the kind. I mean, like that's like the mom from like Pieces. That is, you're just setting yourself up. And she like you see her as and when he's grown up, like still living with her apparently. So he never did get his, comeuppance, his revenge.
And he died a virgin.
I know, that totally breaks the Hollywood. That totally breaks like the slasher movie thing. And like usually it's the virgin that survives. It's all those people that did like dirty, frisky stuff that get theirs.
Well, I thought like at the final scene when they're confronting Pennywise for like the last time, when he's like, I'm a virgin, so Bev, you want to help me out with this?
I know, you're like making out with everybody else here. So
we got like 2 minutes, and trust me, it's not going to take that long.
We got 2 minutes, so that's like a minute of awkward cuddling.
Mm-hmm.
And then I guess like my final dislike would be like 30 years later, and Mike is still just an N-word to Henry. What a prick.
Some people, that's it. That's the way they are.
Huh. Oh no, there was one more dislike, and it was just simply, as my notes are written here, Stanny, you puss. All you had to do was face an immortal demon god, but instead you killed yourself. Yep. What happened to you?
Yep. He checked out. Couldn't handle it anymore.
And I'll leave the rest of the dislikes to you.
I didn't really have much more. Like everything, like I said, everything that I had as a dislike really fell into the realm of nitpicking. I got something I wasn't sure whether to put something on the dislike list or the what the fuck list, because it's a little bit of both.
It'll be our transitory.
Yeah.
Our transitory.
So if you got
point.
nothing else to say, then I will. I'll bridge the gap between our dislikes and our what the fuck.
Lead on, sir.
So, Pennywise is supposed to be some kind of immortal demon, child-eating, soul-sucking demon. They find at the end of the movie, they find like a freaking hobbit door leading into what they figure is Pennywise's lair. They walk through it, and to be encountered with Pennywise's true form, a stop-motion spider with a face that looks like he just stepped on something sharp.
Yeah, it's kind of like its face looks like the Predator's mother-in-law.
Yeah, and we've mentioned it before. I'm a sucker for stop motion animation, but this one just didn't really do it for me. It looked a little goofy. I think it was because I read the book as well that I was a little disappointed with because here's what the book says. They see it as a spider, but really that's not his true form. His true form is something that the human brain cannot comprehend. So it tries to do the best job it can by forming something that it thinks, the human brain will try to form something as the best representation that it can. And I guess because it's got Pennywise's similarities to a spider where, it sets kind of traps, things, lures it in, it consumes. And
so it's like it's like the most approximate common fear all their psyches can agree on.
And, 70% of the human population have a basic fear of spiders anyway. So that kind of makes sense. That's the reason why they see it as a spider, even though that's not what it actually is. But yeah, I just thought it was a bit anticlimactic when you see that. I was expecting something more than this pretty generic stop-motion spider.
Yeah, that was pretty...
So also, it's a little bit, it's also a little bit, what the fuck?
Oh, and another... Yeah, I just found out... I was just going through our chat log, and I got, another what the fuck... A secondary what the fuck dislike transition. when Henry is being liberated from the hospital, like Pennywise usually his stuff is illusions, but apparently he can also manifest reality itself because he gives Henry his terrifying jackknife stiletto back, but he doesn't use it on the guard who aptly is named Kuntz. So
yes, good catch there.
That's a good nod, like a nice little reference, Mr. King. I caught that. And as he approaches, you think he's going to turn the knife on him, and like it turns out it's going to be like all in his head. But no, Pennywise is actually fucking there. He's standing behind him, but as we see the clown shoe step behind Henry, then like on the top he's like Triumph the Insult Clown. Because
he turns into an 8-foot-high biped Doberman.
Or a pug or something. It's like a Doberman. It's like a puggerman. And then we get to see the return of our old friend, inappropriate slow motion. Because all we see is this guy, is Kuntz, falling backwards slowly to like no effect. If you're going to have slow motion, like have something happening where it's just like, it has to be in slow motion, otherwise like I wouldn't be able to see it all or appreciate it all. Like slow motion is to like savor an effect, not drag it on.
Yeah.
And this was just like him falling backwards, slow motion, not even being attacked, it's just a close-up of his face as he's falling towards the floor holding a steady cam.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, that was my what the fuck dislike as well.
Yep. Well, one more thing for me to add to the, now I'll go full on into the what the fuck. The fortune cookie scene. Holy shit. Like another one of Pennywise, of course, like manifesting his like actual illusions. But the fucking thing, one of them just bled, one of them turned into some kind of freaking crab creature.
An antlion thing.
Yeah, one of them just turned into a freaking bird embryo.
And the other one was just like an eye. Like the fortune cookie's blinking.
And yeah, that was like good. Don't get me wrong, like this could have been in the likes list as well, because it was effective. I mean, wouldn't that freak you the fuck out? But yeah, I said I'll put it in the WTF file because holy shit. I've always opened fortune cookies with caution since I saw that.
It's like, Mike, we're going to go to the Chinese restaurant. Okay, great. I'll bring my hammer.
Yeah.
Just in case there's like some sort of apparition waiting inside my fortune cookie instead of like lottery numbers. Like my first what the fuck is I don't want you ever coming in your dead brother's room again, Billy. We're not going to talk about the bleeding photo album that we all saw, and it's not a hallucination. And then the abusive and then like Bev's abusive dad is just like, bathroom exploding in blood? Were you giving the boys a peep show, you little slut?
Yeah.
Like the grown-ups just think blood coming out of nowhere is secondary to kids just pissing them off. Okay, so what's your next WTF?
Hey, well, here's a suggestion. How do you bring somebody out of like some kind of like, we'll say, paralysis?
Well, you'd either like poke them with a needle, like if they're like, well, it all depends on the paralysis. Like if they're like in a coma or like in a fugue state, you'd like spray them with water or something to snap them out of it.
Yeah, or you could just clumsily hold them in your arms while you get on a bike that's approximately 40 years old and ride down the steepest hill towards traffic that you can find. Because if nothing else is going to make them snap out of it, that sure as fuck will.
Well, the only cure for the cure for PTSD is just like losing your memory after getting kicked in the head, and it's just to do it again. to put everything back in place.
Yeah.
The body was shocked into inertia. Now you got to shock the body back into motion.
So yeah, that was. I found that scene very confusing. Not confusing. I mean, I understood why he was doing it and everything. It was pretty much he pretty much explained what he was going to attempt. But I'm like, why did that work? I don't.
Just like, okay, I'm going to break into traffic, and if that doesn't shock her, I'm going to come to a quick stop on the dock and let her sail into the drink. Like, either shock and fear will do it, or drowning. So, Sheldon, what about you? Any more WTF moments?
No, I think that pretty much summed it up for me. That was the only part that had me left scratching my head. And I don't want that to come off as not really a bad thing. It's like I said, it kind of bridges the gap between my dislikes and what the fuck moment, but also it wasn't that bad. It just bothered me a little. I thought it was just a little anticlimactic, so... But that's it for me. So how about you? You must have more on your what the fuck list.
Yeah, well, what's the point of building a bridge if there's nothing on the other end? So, I'm what's on the other end.
That's...
Apparently you're not.
That's my nightmare right there.
Okay, so... I got to say, my second what the fuck is that he lures one kid in with a good trap, but then he taunts numerous kids to frighten them away instead of luring them in? Like, well... And then another one is that, like, he's manipulating photographs. He can, he's got this power somehow to, again, frighten people away from him using photographs that move, have sound, and bleed.
Yes.
It's like, he's a god. Like, it doesn't even matter if you came in with an AK-47. This guy can manipulate sound, light, and matter. Like, this guy's God.
Yeah, for somebody that's as powerful as he is, he doesn't seem like to be a very efficient killer.
Yeah, like, he can eliminate half this town before they could even run away.
And I know they played up the whole thing where, he kind of not only feeds on the bodies physically, but he also feeds on fear. The fear makes makes them taste better, apparently. But there's lots of opportunities where, like, okay, they're plenty good and scared, but you still kind of let them just get away.
Oh, yeah.
So,
that is just...
Yeah, you're right. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Oh, no, it's like, he didn't try to scare Georgie. He, like, lured him in, gained his trust, and then, like, ripped his arm off.
Yeah.
So,
like,
that's like an inefficient kill. Like, he wasn't that scared by the time you ripped the arm off, so it's not like Georgie got scared. Like, even if he did get scared, all that fear would be in the rest of his body, while his arm maintained the same level of fear when he trusted him.
Yeah, that was something, too, that kind of confused me. So did Pennywise just eat Georgie's arm?
Yeah, they found the rest of Georgie. They never said, like, oh, we found Georgie with his arm gone, and, well, pretty much just his head was left.
Yeah.
Like there's inconsistencies in this. And another what the fuck moment is when the bullies encounter Pennywise, and then all of a sudden, instead of, like, grabbing Belch, he just fucking gives him the Close Encounters of the Third Kind treatment by, like, levitating him with... Now he has telekinesis?
Yep, when he sucks him into the sewer pipe.
Yeah, it's not like he grabs him by the ass and pulls him into the pipe. It's just like levitation, and now he's folding him and pulling him through the pipe. It's like, he doesn't have to touch anybody. He could have pulled Georgie in through the sewer grate and just, like, crushed his bones through.
And this is true.
And then when he fights the kids in the sewer, like, apparently not with all these powers he has, he also stole Billy Cole's fog machine.
Ooh, throwback to our first episode.
Because as soon as he shows up, the kids, like, all of a sudden the sewers get foggy, even though they always maintain the same temperature in temperate weather.
Well, don't you know that's like in horror movies, fog equals scary?
And then finally, like, when they do confront him again in the sewers, it's like, again, you can't tell if he's trying to dissuade people or not, because he taunts them with Georgie's paper boat, which somehow hasn't eroded in all the water. That must have been some great paraffin. And it floats up to the center, and then they grab it, they let it go, and it somehow flows against the current that was bringing it to the center.
Yeah, that's a good point, because I was wondering first, okay, this can't really be Georgie's boat. I guess it's just one of Pennywise's illusions again. But wouldn't that mean then that Pennywise, if that's an illusion, Pennywise, they followed a boat to find Pennywise, so does that mean that Pennywise, used it to bring them to him?
In his ostensibly weaker form?
Yeah, so
After trying to discourage them not to, so does he want them there or not? Or did his own illusion work against him?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so there was a lot of, there was a lot of what the fucks for me. But I think that's the end of my list right now. I don't want to pick this movie apart too much because I still freaking loved it.
Oh.
Even though, I got me some questions.
Yeah, there's a couple of confusing points, and it could have been done better, but I understand where it lacks is mostly because of the fact that it was a made-for-TV movie. But it's one of my favorites. I highly recommend it. I'd give this thing an easy 8.5 out of 10.
I give it 2 thumbs up and a third, slightly smaller thumb leading to a hand that's wrapped up in the sleeve of a yellow raincoat.
Nice.
So 3 thumbs, 2.5 thumbs up.
Great. Well, since we've gone through what we liked, what we didn't like, what we were confused about, our recommendation, I think this would be a good place to take a break. We'll be right back after a word from our sponsor.
Wait, we got a sponsor?
Yeah.
When were you going to tell me about this?
Mike, don't worry yourself with the unimportant details. Daddy's got it. Has this ever happened to you?
Hey, doll, you like a guy in makeup?
Stay away from me.
Come on, baby. You know what they say about guys with big feet.
Get lost, you creepy clown.
Well, don't worry. The Clown Busters are here.
Oh, my eye.
Hi, I'm Mike.
And I'm Bill.
Are you being haunted by harlequins?
Are you being followed by fools?
Are you constantly being bombarded by buffoons, jerked around by joking jesters, pestered by punchinellos, made mad by maniacal...
Okay, Mike. I think they got it.
Sorry.
Well, we can help.
Did you know that clowns have been around since the mid-16th century?
Well, we think that's long enough.
We're going to take care of your clown problem fast, using the best anti-clown technology available.
Have silver shooting slingshots? Will travel. Travel restricted to Dairytown bus routes.
We have over 40 years of clown killing experience, and we want to work for you.
Call 1-800-NO-CLOWNS for a free estimate.
We can eliminate any clown problem you have, but don't take our word for it. Listen to this real customer testimonial.
Well, a clown was bothering me, and I think these guys killed it. He's at least hurt real bad.
Call Clown Busters today. We're ready to take down your clown.
Clown body disposal not included. Okay, so that was, I just need to write down that number. That was 1-800-NO-CLOWNS. Okay. Gonna keep this for this Halloween.
Well, it's nice to know that at least 2 of those guys stayed in touch.
Mm-hmm. I'm making potential business out of this. So yeah, good for them.
Kind of like us, but I guess what's the point of having tombstones on our end if there aren't any bodies on their end? So maybe we could partner up with them somehow.
Yeah. I think we could get along great with those guys. For some reason, I think they were just like the right personality matches.
Plus, one of them's got a name I can trust.
Yeah, I always like the name Bill.
Oh.
So, Mike, I gotta ask you, buddy. I'm very curious about this one because some of the movies we watch give you lots of choices. I believe there's been some movies we watch where you've had exactly one choice.
The winner by default.
But this one's kind of in between, so I'm very curious. What have you got for us this week?
There are truly a lot of kills that I can nominate for my kill of the week. And I suppose it really goes into what resonates with me. Like, was it Eddie who overcame his fear and paid for it with his life? Like a death that like almost seemed like kind of pointless but had tremendous meaning in it as well? Or do you just go with Pennywise's death of like, he's a big honking ass spider and yet somehow a bunch of people who are terribly unarmed just like clubbed him and ripped him apart? Mm-hmm. But I gotta say, like, just the social justice in me, my kill of the week goes to Mike taking out Henry.
Oh.
It was 30 years in the making, and it was just like, I think like if Mike had been like a little bit more successful, like actually used his jackknife as soon as he got out, like manifesting that it's real. But no, he left like Pennywise kill the guard in that weird Pitbull slow motion steady cam thing, which is just inappropriate slow-mo. That is going to disqualify you from my list. Mm-hmm. So I'm putting all those other movies out there that have already been made 30 years ago on notice. Like, you want to make it on my list, like, you got to have, like, effective slow motion. But, yeah, just the bully not learning his lesson, no hope for this guy. He's just a piece of shit from the start of his life to the end of his life. And getting killed by the guy that he persecuted and just had a hate on for no reason. It was just resolution. So,
okay. Like,
not telling people they should kill their bullies, but if your bullies try to kill you, then by all means kill them. Because we need less of them in the world.
Okay.
So I'm not saying kill your bullies, but kill your bullies.
If it's a life or death situation, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Or if they're like really annoying.
Right. Okay. Well, that is all our movie coverage for this week, but we are certainly not done just yet, are we, Mike?
Are we?
Well, there's a reason why we decided to cover it when we did.
What is it? You want it all, but you can't have it.
Well, actually, you can. Because we got something special for you guys coming up. Since this episode is being released on... When is the release date? Because we're actually recording it on Wednesday, August 30th.
Don't pull back the curtain, man.
I think they're pretty sure we record like a little bit before. So...
We're due for release on this one on August 4th.
On August 4th.
September 4th.
That's right. But there is...
Because August 4th has already passed.
September 4th, god damn it.
We're booking next year's podcast in advance because that is how tight our ship is.
Sorry, I'm just a little excited about our announcement. But anyway, so yes, this episode is being released September 4th. So you guys are listening to us right now, and there's a pretty big movie event happening on September the 8th, the following Friday. And what is that movie event? It is the release of It. That's right, the It remake, brand new movie, being released in theaters September 8th. On that weekend, we are actually going to go see the movie, and unfortunately not together, because a lot of people probably don't know this, we actually live quite a distance away from each other.
We are only brought together through the magic of the internet.
Yeah, we're approximately like a 5-hour drive apart. So, yeah, we not like we can just jump in the car and pop by for like to go out to a quick movie or anything. But
if you want to fix it, donate to patreon.com/thegraveyard. No, patreon.com/graveyard. If you want Mike to relocate.
Yes, at least get the address right. But we're going to see this movie, and guys, this is why this is a special event, because you're going to get a bonus episode, a smaller yet awesome episode coming for you, because as soon as we watch the new It movie, we are going to record an episode giving our thoughts on it. We'll try to stay as spoiler-free as possible, of course, but we're going to give our thoughts, make a quick comparison to the original movie that we just covered, and also going to give you a chance to get something kind of nice. We have got a Pennywise Pop Funko toy that we want to give to you. We're feeling generous. It's going to be a free draw. All you have to do is follow the instructions on the It bonus episode that will be released. We're hoping maybe, what do you say, Mike? Maybe like the Monday or Tuesday after the weekend that It gets released?
Sure.
Well, you'll see it anyway. You know how to find us, so you'll see it. We're going to give you instructions on how to enter yourself into the free draw for the Pennywise Funko Pop. And yeah, that's all you have to do. It's going to be very simple. And that's just a little gift to you guys, because you guys are fucking awesome. You've been great to us. You're following us on either our Facebook page or our Twitter page. We've been getting tons of emails and messages from you guys, from movie suggestions, lots of comments. We've had some great conversation, and this is just our little way of giving back to you for just listening to us and actually giving a couple of clowns like us a chance. So thank you for that.
The emails have dropped off a bit, but you know what? This is a good faith episode we're going to be doing, and hopefully some of the gratitude will come pouring back in.
Most of the people that were emailing us, sending us emails originally, are now either messaging us on Facebook or Twitter. So that's just as good. And yeah, we're excited about this. Like, this is just a little something that we decided kind of quickly. This movie wasn't originally on our list to be done this soon, but we decided to tie it in with the release of the remake, and so that way we could do a little something extra for you guys. So you'll get a bonus episode, a chance for a free gift. It's pretty sweet, the Pennywise Funko Pop bobblehead. And yeah, so one of you guys is going to get that, and we're going to give you instructions on how to do it once we release our bonus episode on the It remake. So keep a lookout for that, because it'll be worthwhile. So with all that being said, I guess the only thing left to do is say that we want to hear from you. Do you have a movie suggestion? You just want to have some comments, questions, just want to chat? You want to, check with us to find out how you can get that number to contact the Clownbusters? Well, you got a few options. You can email us at graveyardshiftpod@gmail.com. You can reach out to us on Twitter at GOIS_horrorpod. Or you can reach out to us on Facebook at facebook.com/thegraveyardshiftpod. If you're in a position to make a financial donation to the show, you can do so at www.patreon.com/graveyard. All proceeds.
Not the graveyard. Those guys can suck it.
Yeah, not the graveyard, just /graveyard. All proceeds, of course, go to the upkeep and promotion of the show. And, of course, not everyone has the money to give us money, but you can still help us out a ton by going onto iTunes, rate, review, subscribe. In the long run, that's what's going to go the furthest to help out the show. And if you're not on iTunes, that's not possible, just keep doing what you're doing. Listen to us each week, download, share the episodes, tell your horror friends about it, and just keep being awesome.
Or tell your friends that aren't into horror. We can use we can use one-time downloads too. They all look the same to us.
Yeah, they all help us out. So, and you guys have been great on doing that so far. So thank you so much. And pretty soon
you can review us on their iTunes with their iTunes account as well. Just don't tell them about it. They'll just be like, why does this keep popping up on my feed? And just say,
And I think pretty soon you're also going to be able to follow us on the Instagrams. Whatever that is.
Ooh.
I'm old.
I think it's when you take powdered grandmothers and then you just pour water in them and then they become instant grandmas.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Totally. But yeah, somebody is interested in doing an Instagram account for us, and who are we to say no? We just, own and market and produce the show. That's all. But yeah, we'll soon be available. You'll be able to follow us on Instagram, so check that out. I'll make an announcement on an upcoming episode when that's ready to go. But yeah, so guys, once again, thank you so much. Hope you enjoyed the episode. Be on the lookout for our It Remake bonus episode coming out soon, and it's going to give you a chance to get that Pennywise Funko Pop bobblehead. It is awesome. I'm tempted to keep it for myself, but yeah, you guys have earned it. But anyway, that is it for us. Until next time, I'm Sheldon.
And I'm Mike.
Please join us again on The Graveyard Shift.
Hi, I'm Mike.
And I'm Bill.
Are you being haunted by harlequins?
Are you being followed by fools?
Are you constantly being bombarded by buffoons, jerked around by joking jesters, pestered by punchinellos, made mad by maniacal mimes, hounded by humorists, berated by bumpkins, lollygagged by lummoxes, derided by dunces, creeped by clodhoppers, waylaid by wisecrackers, bounced by bunglers, bothered by bozos, enraged by epigrammators, whacked out by wags, irritated by imbeciles, knackered by ninnies, juxtaposed by jugglers, mesmerized by mummers, pestered by Pagliacci, taunted by tricksters, grossed out by goofballs.
Mike, I am being assaulted by alliterations over here.
Gee, Bill, do you have a bee in your bonnet? You got a tick in your t-shirt? A slug in your shoes?
Oh, for fuck's sake, Jesus Christ. What is wrong with you? Did you pass out? Oh my god.